Okay, welcome back.
Hello.
It's number 3 today in our series on the fall. So, what can we say to remind everyone of what we've been doing over the last couple of days? Temptation, sin, all on a very...
Shame.
Yeah, shame and hiding. And all on a very personal level.
Yeah.
So, Adam and Eve, Cain and Abel, we see the same story being repeated, and then we're going to go and look at the rebellion and the flood today, so we're going big. We're in Genesis chapter 6, 7, 8 and 9 today, so we'll look at that. There's a very interesting passage which has been much debated over the years, which we start off with. Pam, do you want to read just the first couple of verses of chapter 6?
When human beings began to increase in number on the earth and daughters were born to them, the sons of God saw that the daughters of humans were beautiful, and they married any of them they chose.
Okay, and we read a couple of verses later on that there were children that were born from these marriages that became the heroes of old.
Men of renown.
Men of renown, yeah. So, people have discussed this. What is this all about?
The Nephilim.
Yeah, the Nephilim. This strange group of people that came as a result of, it says, the sons of God and the daughters of men intermarrying. Now, some people will say the sons of God is a common phrase for kings. That's how often people were known in the early days like this. That if you were a king, you were thought to be a son of God. And so some people will say this is about the kings deciding to marry outside of their line. They chose to marry anyone that they wanted to, and that out of that came these men of renown, these heroes. Which, I'm not quite sure why that is written like that here. Because obviously there's something here about the wickedness in the world.
Yeah, God's not happy at all when you look at it.
No. And often, and the Jewish worldview, if we look back at how they understood these scriptures, they would think of it very much as it's written, that there were these spiritual beings that rebelled against God. There was a rebellion in the heavenly realms, which we've already seen in the serpent, and this is a continuation of that rebellion against God, and coming to earth and procreating with women, and making these these beings, these giants or heroes of old, the Nephilim. So we don't really know, in all honesty, what that is, except to say this is all about the rebellion. And probably there's a rebellion in the spiritual realm as well as in the physical realm. And we know that it's actually having a huge impact. It's destroying the world.
Why are you saying there's a rebellion in the spiritual realm?
Well, because the sons of God are coming to the daughters of men.
Oh, I see.
So
it's upsetting both sides.
Yeah. And if you read some of the commentaries, there's an ancient book called the Book of Enoch, which gives more explanation to how the Jews understood this, and it tells the story of these angelic beings coming and teaching mankind all about sorcery, I think about makeup, I think, and about making weapons of war. And so that's kind of how I don't know if these...
What a weird combination.
Yeah, really strange. But basically saying this is the corruption of mankind that was caused by its own sin, its own choices of giving into the temptation, but also the spiritual beings that are coming to corrupt the world. So, and actually, you think about it, as we get to Jesus, you find the worldview there is very much, there are evil spirits that are corrupting people and bringing degradation to humanity.
Okay.
So, that's the worldview that they had then.
Okay.
All we can say from this is that the world is in a sorry state. You read down and it says God was grieved at the state of mankind. There was violence, bloodshed, really everything that you would hate in the world. And God saw and he was grieved.
Says he regretted he'd made human beings.
Yeah, it's pretty serious, eh? So God says, enough. I'm gonna start again. And if you like, he removes his hand. You know, God is the sustainer of life, as we know. And we saw in the creation account how God, bringing order, allowed life to flourish. Now, when God says enough, he withdraws his hand, and we find, rather than the creation, we find decreation. We find that the world goes back to how it was before creation, and the waters that were kind of covering everything come back, and we find this chaos and waters everywhere.
Okay.
And life is extinguished from the earth. So living creatures, all the creatures that crawled, all the animals, every human being destroyed.
We only lasted 5 chapters.
Yeah, it wasn't long, was it? And God says, we're going to start again. And who does he start again with?
Me? No.
No, it wasn't you.
Are you asking me?
Yeah, I am, yeah.
Okay. Bing! Noah.
It was Noah. Go on, what does he say about Noah?
He found favour in the eyes of the Lord. He was a righteous man, blameless among the people of his time, and he walked faithfully with God.
Yeah, interesting that. That little phrase, he walked with God. Does that remind you of anyone?
Adam?
And you see hints of this. There's all sorts of hints in this story that this is the new creation. That God is saying, I'm starting again. I'm decreating, and then I'm bringing one through, a new Adam.
Okay.
That will bring, that is righteous, that is faithful, that will be obedient to me. And so through him and his line, I'm going to start the whole human project again.
Take 2.
Take 2, exactly, it is.
Okay.
It's a new starting over, you know. And just like Adam ruled over the animals, you can see Noah go around somehow collecting these animals. You know, it's a strange thing, but it's definitely the echoes of Eden, where Noah is able to go and collect these animals and bring them into the ark, you know, without any animosity there. There was a friendship with the animals, which we talked about before, in Eden, which Noah seemed to have. So, and God rescues him. So we see the first way of understanding salvation. God choosing a man, choosing a family, and rescuing him from the decreation, the chaos around him, the chaos that sin had brought. And God rescues this family, brings him into the ark, and rescues creation through him.
Hides them away in the ark.
Yeah.
So what does the ark symbolise then?
Well, that's the
next temple.
It's the salvation.
Oh.
It's God's rescue plan for humanity, for all creation. God is rescuing creation from the curse, and he's starting again with a new creation.
Wouldn't be like the new Eden.
Well, I think that's what it was meant to be.
Oh, okay. So I'm not completely cuckoo.
No, not at all. No, that's exactly how it was. God was starting again with a new human race, with a new Adam, if you like, a new family, and with the animals around him all living in harmony, very much like the first run through. So yeah, he even gives the same blessing that he gave to Adam. I think at the beginning of chapter 9. Have a look there, see if you can find it just at the beginning.
He blessed Noah and his sons, saying, "Be fruitful and increase in number and fill the earth."
There you go. Same blessing, same if you like, it's the same way of...
Same mandate.
Yeah, mandate, thank you. Yeah. The same mandate to go and fill the earth. So Adam and Eve, Noah and his family, it's the same thing. So we see all these things, and God actually says that at this point, he makes a covenant with Noah, and says, the end of chapter 8, verse 21, I think. Can you read that?
The Lord smelled the pleasing aroma and said in his heart, "Never again will I curse the ground because of humans, even though every inclination of the human heart is evil from childhood, and never again will I destroy all living creatures, as I have done."
Yeah. So there's this commitment by God to say, never will I start this project again. This is it now. You know, and I don't know if you've ever heard people say, you know, if I was God, or why doesn't God get rid of all the evil? Why doesn't he just, you know, start again? Or, I don't know, various arguments like that. And we see that here. And we realise, actually, that God says, I'll never do that again. I'll never destroy the earth. I'll never destroy all of living creatures. That's my covenant. And I think we understand why, eventually, in that it just doesn't work, does it? It didn't work. Which we're going to see in a minute, I think. How does the story end?
Do you never think what you would do if you were God then?
Well, I think God's plan is ultimately really wise.
I do. I think all the time, God, why don't you do this? If I was God, I'd do that. Never in my nearly 50 years has God ever said, oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah. It's hilarious.
Yeah, I can't stop it.
Yeah. No, we've always got good ideas, haven't we?
I've got loads of great ideas. I wish he'd just follow my plan.
No, but you're glad ultimately that he's not following your plan.
Absolutely.
That would be disaster.
Maybe.
Disaster for all of us. But
I can't even get my plans through in the house.
No, quite right. You should learn something. So God starts again. There's a new Adam, a new family. It's all like this, and we'll find a number of stories similar to this, where there's this great hope of a new Adam coming onto the scene, giving hope for the people of God, and hope for creation. That it's going to be, this time it's going to work. This time we're going to see a people that are pleasing to God and that are working it out as he intended. Anyway.
It's so hopeful.
Yeah, it is. And but where does it end? The story of Noah. This is always some people. This is the bit that's not included in the children's.
I know. I was amazed when you said this a minute ago.
Yeah, the
Where
children's
are we
stories
in 12?
No, chapter 9.
9.
Yeah, so verse 20.
Mwah, mwah, mwah. Noah, a man of the soil, proceeded to plant a vineyard. When he drank some of its wine, he became drunk and lay uncovered inside his tent. Ham, the father of Canaan, saw his father naked and told his 2 brothers outside. Shall I carry on?
Yeah, go on.
But Shem and Japheth took a garment and laid it across their shoulders. Then they walked in backwards and covered their father's naked body. Their faces were turned the other way so that they wouldn't see their father naked.
Okay.
Oh dear Noah.
So.
I mean, it says here he lives 350 years after the flood. What was he doing?
Yeah, making babies.
Noah.
But what do you see there? Are there any reminiscence of the Adam and Eve story?
The shame.
Yeah.
And the covering.
The nakedness. Yeah. Suddenly, seeing the nakedness and being uncovered, and actually we go on to find that Noah hears what his youngest son has done and curses him. Curses him and his children. So we find a similar kind of end to the story as we did with Adam and Eve: nakedness, shame, and cursing. It's the
We're
whole.
already looking forward to Jesus coming on this.
Are we? Yeah.
Got
You see.
whole chapters and books to
I
go.
know.
Come on, Jesus.
Jesus, I mean, we're going to talk about this because this Adam figure that appears throughout the history of the people of God, and always, just when you think they're going to make it, they're going to be the ones, the David, the Solomon, the Moses, the Elijah, all of them that we thought were going to be the ones to lead the people through into the promises of God, and actually all of them fail. And then there's one that comes who doesn't fail, the new Adam. But we'll get on to that later. Okay, so that's the story of the flood and the rebellion against God and God's working through that. Discussion question for today is, what are the implications of this story on the big story of Scripture? So, in other words, what do you learn from this story that fits into the bigger picture of the big story of the Bible?
Haven't we said all the answers?
Probably said a few of them, but
There's some more.
we'll have a time to discuss that. Okay, thanks for watching, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.